Hello, time for another Man in Gray book review. Today's book is The Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, uh, translated from German by Samuel Moore. This book was originally published in 1848. This edition, published by Penguin Books in 2015, it's 58 pages. The Communist Manifesto is, in my mind, the most significant short book ever written. It's certainly one of the most influential short books ever written. And it has one of the most famous opening sentences of any book. There's a specter haunting Europe, the specter of communism. This book was the first attempt by Karl Marx to explain his theories about a future classless society. Of course, in this book, the two advocated the abolition of private property, the collectivization of all assets, and the even distribution of assets to everyone. Physical workers, the aristocracy, everyone would be treated equally. It was an appealing vision of the future in the mid-19th century, at a time when there was a huge gap between aristocrats and even the middle class and the workers. There's a huge wage disparity, huge disparity in lifestyle. So it's not surprising that this book lit a fire under a lot of people and led to local groups of people advocating communist ideas. And of course, the idea spread beyond Europe throughout the world in the 20th century. Of course, we know now, with the hindsight of 150 years of history, that many of the ideas that Marx and Engels put forth in this book failed to come true. They predicted that capitalism would implode, it would self-destruct eventually, and that the workers would revolt and there would be a universal classless workers' paradise. And of course, none of that happened. When communist ideas were actually put in effect in countries, they inevitably led to a brutal dictatorship. You had a handful of people controlling the government and jailing or murdering people. And the destruction of private property, the abolition of private property, of course, killed off any incentive people had to be more productive. And the result was food shortages, sometimes massive starvation. You had a lot of shoddy products being produced and not enough of them, so there were shortages for products and so forth. And of course, a lack of innovation. Why be innovative when you can't benefit yourself from innovation? And to this very day, former communist countries like those in Eastern Europe and Asia lag behind in productivity to countries that have always been capitalist. So, with all that being said, why should you bother reading the Communist Manifesto, since so many of the ideas have been repudiated by history? Well, one of the reasons, of course, is this is historically a very important book. Much of the 20th century was a battle between these two ideologies, capitalism and Marxism. And of course, it led to this decades-long Cold War after World War II. And of course, part of Hitler's appeal, part of the appeal of the Nazi Party was the fact that Hitler was anti-communist. A lot of middle-class Germans in the 1920s didn't like the Nazis all that much, but they were terrified of communists taking over Germany and destroying the German society. And so that was part of it. So historically, this is an important book, so everybody should read it for that reason. But also, some of the ideas still hold appeal today. The American philosopher Charles Frankel once said that Marx's idea of history as being the history of class struggle. In other words, history is really the story of the proletariat struggling against those who had property. He said that was one of the most important ideas that humans have had. And today, if you read any history book about a country, you'll see chapters about the poor and the wage disparity and struggles and so forth. And that absolutely was influenced by this book. So the Communist Manifesto still has a resonance today, even if a lot of their ideas have been dispensed with. It's probably the easiest to read of all of Marx's books. Marx was notorious for being a German writer, very dense, hard to understand, long sentences and so forth. This book is very brief and to the point, and it lays out the communist ideas in a way that's a lot easier to understand than some of Marx's other works. The book is The Communist Manifesto. The authors are Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. This has been another Man in Gray book review. Thanks for watching.